Very well, so let's dive right into that startup conversation. Of course, you have seen us cover for you some startups in the country, and of course a couple of them from the African continent. On the show, The Innovator, TechFile also samples some of them. You can catch TechFile tonight at 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. But then the term startup refers to a company in the first stages of its operations. Startups are founded by one or more entrepreneurs who want to develop a product or service for which they believe there is demand. Here then are some of your own definitions of a startup.
Startup ni ile inakufungulia a new world. Okay. Ya kukuanzishia kama ni business. Okay. Ukipata pesa ya startup, utaweza kuanzisha business ambayo itakuinua siku zijazo kimaisha.
Well, for me, a startup is a newly registered company. Okay. That mostly focuses on software developments. Okay. And also, of course, looks for funds from outside the country. Okay. So, of course, has that an investor appeal. Okay. Yes.
I define a startup as beginning something from the ground up. Okay. It could be a business, it could be education, it could be anything. Okay. Just the effort and passion you put into it is what grows you.
All right, so those are your definitions in relation to startups. But what exactly does it mean? We will be speaking, of course, to Chris Odongo. He is the CEO of Wild International. But first, let me give you a snippet of the numbers on how they look like in Africa. This is how funding in the last 2021 looked like. We're talking about funds raised by African startups in that specific period. So Nigeria leads the market, which is about $1.37 billion. This is huge. South Africa comes close, number 2. $838 million, followed by Egypt, which is $588 million, and Kenya right there at number 4, $375 million. That's the amount that was raised last year in terms of financing. And we have Senegal, the tiny West African country, which raised $222 million in 2021. Of course, this is a critical issue because funding sometimes financing is needed when it comes to idea generation and moving it all the way into the market. So what exactly does the Kenyan picture look like when you delve in much deeper in relation to this? So Kenya 2021 startup deals were primarily focused, that is about 47%, on the Grow Intelligence deal. The bulk of it was on this one. The second of it was on energy and water, which is around 20%, and on fintech, this is finance technology solutions, which is about 13%. Agriculture and food came in lastly at about 8%. This is where the financing was concentrated on. Of course, this is quite an interesting development, but Kenya is quite an interesting factor when it comes to financial solutions and fin technology as a whole. So we are going to be having this discussion with Chris Odongo. He is the Chief Executive Officer at Wild International. Chris is well versed when it comes to matters in relation to startups and in relation to idea generation, especially in Africa. He will be discussing more details in relation to startups and exactly what does it mean when it comes to starting these ideas and getting financing. Chris, welcome to the program, and it's a pleasure to have you on Business Cafe.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted to be here to have conversations around startups.